Hey everyone, James Labrie from Dream Theater, and you're listening to or watching the podcast Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian. Enjoy this. These guys are extremely informative. I love their dialogue. I love their interpretation of the songs, who and what we are, what we were going after. They're very accurate in their interpretations and descriptions, and I just think this is a great show, and these guys are doing a stand-up stellar job. So once again, enjoy Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Talking into Infinity, a Dream Theater podcast. I am your host, John. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, talkingintoinfinity.com, and the cmsnetwork.com. We are here every other Thursday live on those four locations, or at those four locations if you prefer proper English, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to catch video replays of the show, just go to our YouTube channel, or better yet, check out Heavy Metal Television. All of our episodes are there on demand. And if you'd like to download the audio version of the podcast, just Google Talking into Infinity podcast, and we will be pretty much anywhere you find your shows. So before we get into tonight's topic, which I am going to get crucified for more than likely, quick show note tonight. Brian will not be with us tonight. I do have a special guest host who I will be bringing on in just a minute here. Brian said that it is okay to let everybody know. Unfortunately, he did lose his father suddenly a week ago, about a week and a half ago. So he will not be able to make it tonight. He's taking care of some family business, as you would expect. So real quick personal message to Brian. He'll be checking out the show later. But I love you, man. And I am so very sorry for what you're going through. And, if I know it's always so cliche to say, if you need anything, call me. But we've talked a little bit. But, my phone is always on, bro. And I love you. And take all the time you need. And I miss you. And I hope you and the family are doing as well as can be expected. So much love to you, brother. So that having been said, let me bring on my esteemed co-host for the night, a special guest host. You guys know him and love him from the comments section. He's been a guest host a few times before, all the way from Australia, Mr. Cale McLeish. What's going on, man?
Good evening, good morning, good whatever it is for you, wherever you're watching. How are you, man?
I am doing very well, man. I'm ready to probably get my ass kicked tonight. This is going to be an interesting one for sure. As soon as I drew up the numbers for what albums were going against each other, I was like, oh, this is not going to go well for me.
This is a hell of a one to do, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because I do it at random, and so I don't think, oh, I wonder what this would be like against this one. Like, I literally pull up a random number generator, and I just, okay, what number album is that? Okay, and it came up with 4 and 5. And I was like, oh, boy. All right. So here we go. So it just so happened it's my favorite record versus the record that a lot of fans, if they don't have Images and Words as their favorite or the best, they have Scenes from a Memory as their favorite or the best. So Neil McLeish, is that a relation of yours?
That is my father. Hey, Dad.
Oh, there you go. Hey, what's up? What's up, Mr. McLeish? Good to see you here. Says, my condolences to Brian and his family. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you, man. Adam Rishog, he is here. It's great to see you, man. He says, all the best to Brian and the rest of his family. The Dream Theater family loves you and is with you. That is very kind of you, man. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. But he also says, this is going to be the easiest cage match ever. So we will see.
I think so, but it's really not. I mean, once you brought this one up, it's just like, oh yeah, I'll check them out. And it's just like, this is a lot more even than I would have thought.
Yeah, we'll get into it shortly here, like the song by song, like we like to do. It was interesting for me going back through the albums and listening to them. Because it's one of the things that happens when we do these is you really dig in and you hear things that you never really heard before, and especially for me, with Falling Into Infinity, I love it and everything, but I was really kind of going through it, and I really kind of realized, like, everybody knows that was their attempt to write more commercial songs. They were trying to get that hit. They were, kind of bowing to label pressure. But when I listened back to it, I was like, okay, I can hear that in like Petrucci's riffs, but then Portnoy's over top, just like doing the busiest drums in so many simple parts. Like he was just fighting that record label right ahead. He's like, no, damn it, we're a prog band. And then conversely, when I was listening back to Scenes, I was like, I never really realized how much I really considered that one giant piece of music. I didn't really consider it on a song by song basis. So
definitely.
Did you come across anything like that?
I definitely did.
Did you come across anything like that?
Listening to Falling Into Infinity and dividing Burning My Soul and Hell's Kitchen and Lines into the Sand, it's like, these are good songs on their own, but damn, it's a continuous piece. They are so much better.
Okay.
Listening to pretty much any of Scenes and isolating Overture from Strange Deja Vu, isolating Through My Words from Fatal Tragedy, all of that is just like, oh, God. It's not... They aren't really songs that are meant to be divided. So taking this on a song-by-song basis, it's tricky.
Wow.
It's very tricky.
So Gibson Les Paul says, Adam's right. This is a slaughter. Well, I knew I was going to take a beating. I knew that I was going to take a beating on this one. So, I mean, it is what it is. So why don't we just get right into this, and we'll start right off the top. Just as a quick note here, we always have to have the songs, they have to be an equal number. So it's 11 versus 11. So what we did to even things up is we combined Regression and Overture 1928 into one song. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna start right from the top. And we have New Millennium versus Regression, Overture 1928. I will let you start. What do you have as the winning track?
I actually had New Millennium as the winning track, even over Overture 1928.
Okay.
Putting Regression and Overture together, I mean, Overture on its own is a great song, but Overture into Strange Deja Vu is what would have given it over the New Millennium. New Millennium's just a hell of a jam. I love that track. It's got so much opener potential. I don't know where I ranked that back in the album openers episode that you guys did, but it's so good. It's so, hey, here we are. This is the new album. Check it out. Taking Overture away from Strange Deja Vu is not as good. It's kind of like, you get that da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da, and you're waiting for it to kick over, and it's like, where is it? That's a separated piece. It's not there.
Okay. Well, apparently my microphone...
New Millennium, as being a whole piece, definitely wins for me.
Okay. Apparently my computer is doing the mic thing again, which I cannot figure out. So I have no idea what the hell it's doing, but... So we're going to power through.
Where'd you end it on this one?
So I have New Millennium as well. And, for me, New Millennium always has this killer groove. And it's like you said, it's a great album opener. I love it personally. It's not as progressive as a lot of their other stuff, but it moves. It just keeps moving and moving and moving. Like it just jams. So I really, really like that. And again, this was the first example. If you really listen to it, like there's some pretty just straight ahead riffage going on, and Portnoy's getting busy with it to kind of keep it in that Dream Theater mold, which is really cool. And I like the vocal. I got this feeling, tide is turning now, baby. Like that's cool. And honestly, it's a pair of intro tracks against an actual song, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I had to go with New Millennium.
Definitely.
So I was surprised. I was kind of surprised. I really thought that like you would go with Overture 1928.
I thought I'd go with Overture 1928, but Regression isn't a track I've ever particularly gravitated towards. And then 1928 without Deja Vu feels off, feels strange.
Okay. All right, let's
So
move on to the second track.
Where I'm at with that one.
All right. So the second track, we have You Not Me versus Strange Deja Vu. And I am going to go with Strange Deja Vu for this one.
Yep.
So the one thing I would say as kind of a caveat to this is You Not Me was written by Petrucci with Desmond Child. And I would love to hear the version that was done with Desmond Child, because I guess the reason they couldn't use it was because the chorus was too high for James to sing. So I would be really interested to hear like what that actually sounded like, to see if that would like change the song up at all. But again, it's, You Not Me has got a big fat groove. The whole record's got big fat grooves to me. And as much as I like it, Strange Deja Vu just stands out so much more. I mean, it's to me that's the true intro to the record, and that song also has a good groove, but it gets progressive in parts. It's just a great intro to what's coming later. So it stands out more to me. So that's I picked Strange Deja Vu. Where do you fall?
I picked Strange Deja Vu as well. You Not Me's kind of off with the Desmond Child rewrite, because what we've got on Falling Into Infinity is what Desmond brought into it. It's You or Me that was the original Dream Theater version, and I think I would have actually taken that over Strange Deja Vu if it was left alone, because I love that demo of it. It's a solid rocker.
Okay.
But listening to directly what's on the albums, not taking into account the Falling Into Infinity demos version, not taking into account any of that, Strange Deja Vu has such a killer opening lyric with the subconscious strange sensation. It's just like, ooh,
Yep.
All right, James is there. Here we go. Strap in. And then when you get to the middle with the it's just like, damn, that's a catchy riff.
Right.
I mean, there's so much going for that track. It's just like, here we go. I'm in for this. Where's the rest of this album going to take me? Because if this is a snapshot, I'm liking what I'm saying. Play me out.
Yep, I completely agree. That's my whole feeling. It's such a strong album opener, and sets the table for what you're going to get going forward. So, Adam Rishog, he says, I have to choose New Millennium. So he was with us. So that was a pretty much a landslide victory for New Millennium. Joe Gebhardt says Overture 1928 was actually the first Dream Theater I ever heard. It holds that first listen spot on my list. He'll go with that. So we finally got a vote for that. And Adam Rishog is chiming in on our track too. This one is easy. Remember a few weeks ago when you were mentioning the 10 worst songs? You Not Me would definitely be on that list.
Yeah,
well, I'm definitely going to go against you on that one, but I would not agree with you there. But
again, Not Me versus Or Me. I think I'd agree with him.
Okay, all right. So let's move on to track number 3. So we have Peruvian Skies versus Through My Words. What do you got?
Is it really a question? We've got a fragment of the Fatal Tragedy intro versus an actual song. Peruvian Skies. Obviously. For all the reasons that we took New Millennium over to 1928. It's an actual song. You get the full story. I like the lyric. I love the Metallica meets Pink Floyd groove that we have all throughout it. I think it's a great song. I think it's one of my favorites on all of Falling Into Infinity. Through my words.
Yeah, it's in my notes. It's kind of unfair. Since Through My Words is so short, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely agree with you on Peruvian Skies. You know, it's got the separate halves. You know, it's mellow, and then also it builds to this like total like Enter Sandman and as kind of, you know, it's
Damn.
it's just great. And you know, there's that build up near the end over that single note run. And you know, it's building and building and building, and all of a sudden, it's like you could just like picture Mike Portnoy standing up, just going, you know, real simple part. So that just rocks. And I will say, I wondered why. You know, I mean, Through My Words is a beautiful melody. I've always wondered why they didn't pair it with Fatal Tragedy.
They've
It
never
seems like they should go
played.
together.
They've never played one without the other. It feels like it is the same song. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, that was really weird to me.
and hearing them in
So,
isolation again, it's like da 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 da. Okay, hit the rest of it. No, okay.
Okay, Gibson Les Paul says, you know, Scenes from a Memory is a tough album for this game because of all those short pieces of music that connect songs.
Yeah,
Well,
straight up.
but see, here's the thing, Gibson. There's only 12 cuts on the record, though. So it's not like The Astonishing, where it's, you know, like 37 or whatever the hell, however many there are. Like, this is literally only 12 songs. I mean, it seems like there's more of those interlude type of things, but there's not. And I think that's because you've got songs like this that are so short, and then you get into stuff like Home that's, you know, almost 12 minutes long. So you got a couple really long ones, and then you've got a couple really short ones. So I think it's kind of, you know,
yeah, but when we're
numbers-wise,
saying
it
short
balances
ones,
out,
we've got 40 seconds of one of them, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, how long is Through My Words? It literally is a detached intro.
They're like a minute. So I mean, there's that. But you know, like I say, unfortunately for the cage matches, it's got to go song by song. We even out the number. So this is just the way the chips fell, man. This is just the way the chips fell. So
Yeah.
I still don't know how the hell we're gonna do The Astonishing. I might, you know, side note, I might leave that one out of the cage matches because, like, how do you do that? I mean, you're gonna have there's be so
I
many
don't
combinations.
think you can fairly match it up with anything.
No, I don't.
Unless you like,
I really don't.
cut a particular number of scenes to try and fit with something else. But even then, it's, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to track 4. We have Hollow Years versus Fatal Tragedy. I have Hollow Years coming out on top. And this was a difficult one, but Hollow Years is one of my all-time favorites, and it's one of those ones that it's just incredible on the record, and every time, you know, they do it live, I've seen it a few times, it just comes off even better. And you know, to me, like, anytime they can back off the prog and prove that they can write a song that's as, you know, concise, direct, and emotional as this one is, you know, Hollow Years, to me that's impressive. It's cool. It's kind of like a break in the action in a way. You know, it kind of like cleanses your palate for more of the crazy prog stuff that'll come after it. So, you know, I love that. And honestly, being honest, I may be swayed a little bit because of the Live at Budokan version, because that's just one of the best things I've ever done. So, I mean, that could be playing a part in this too. And I really like the solo. So, you know, but you know, honestly, I picked it because if you said, hey, man, what comes to mind? Which song do you want to hear? Hollow Years, you know, or you know, Fatal Tragedy. I'm gonna go Hollow Years. Like, it's a visceral thing for me.
Yeah.
So, but Fatal Tragedy is great, man. There's a ton of awesome harmony parts in it. You know, there's some really weird sounding stuff in there that they did. It's a great song. It's an absolutely great song. But, you know, for me, it's Hollow Years. What do you got? What is your choice
Fatal
for
Tragedy
number 4?
for me. This is our first.
All
This
right.
is our first split.
Right?
I'm surprised it took us this far into the album.
I am too, honestly.
But I
right, so you
suppose
have
when
Fatal
the other ones
Tragedy.
are as clear cut as they are, as you said, it's got so much of the vocal harmony stuff that I love. It's got that really cool Brian May effect, and then it's got the Megadeth Shrink and Grow section coming to back it out. It's a great continuation to the story. It's my young lyric. What's not to love with Fatal Tragedy? I love Hollow Years as well. But as we're saying, we're kind of going album versions. If it was the Hollow Years off Live at Budokan, the Fatal Tragedies be wiped out for sure. But I think taking album version versus album version into account, if I'm listening to that, I'm definitely going to go Fatal.
Well, Joe Gebhardt agrees with you. He says Fatal Tragedy. Adam Rishog, he says Fatal Tragedy for me, but barely. If you counted the Live at Budokan version of Hollow Years, that would win.
Thank you for putting my point into so few words.
Yeah. Gibson Les Paul agrees. Hollow Years wins if it were on the Budokan version. And what's with the sound on John's lead in Fatal Tragedy? Way too loud in the mix. Wow. I've never heard a Dream Theater fan complain that Petrucci's too loud. That's the first.
Actually, he got a point.
That's a new one for me, man. I've never heard that before. Yeah, again, guys, like this was a difficult one because I love Hollow Years.
This was definitely a difficult one.
So much, but I mean, Fatal Tragedy is so strong, but Hollow Years is just, again, this is probably a personal preference thing. And again, I wonder if I was swayed a little bit on this, not only because, Falling Into Infinity is a favorite of mine, but because I'm so used to considering scenes as an entire record. So it's weird for me to break it down into pieces. So maybe I shouldn't have done this one. I should have picked a different record. Concept records don't count.
This is definitely a hard one.
Yep. All right, moving on to track number 5. Burning My Soul versus Beyond This Life. You are up.
I had Beyond This Life. I definitely had Beyond This Life. And I'm not taking into account any of the Budokan versions or anything. I'm taking the album version all the way. It's such a good metal jam. It's, again, great lyrics, great storyline. And just the solos at the end. I mean, what can you want more than that? And Petrucci's crazy lead going into the "She wanted love forever," just that huge lead bit. It's just like, this song is so good. I love it. I love Burning My Soul as well. I think it's a great little 5-minute jam. If we took Burning My Soul 97 over Beyond This Life, again, it'd be a hard matchup. But no, Beyond This Life for me, definitely on this one. What do you have?
Okay. Well, I have Beyond This Life as well. The one thing I will say about Burning My Soul is that finally you featured the bass pretty prominently, and it's definitely an example of the fact that Falling Into Infinity has his best bass tone, I think, on any of the records. It's just huge. And that is on full display, in Burning My Soul and that intro and stuff. Burning My Soul, it's another straight jammer. It just rocks all the way through. And it also has some kick-ass Derek Sherinian work on it. The solo's cool. And if you've ever heard like the behind the scenes, like the demos, like the making of the record, it's going into the twisting, turning, like that little thing. If you really listen to what he's doing, that's crazy. Yeah, it's this really weird keyboard thing, and it's crazy, man. Like you don't really notice it unless you know it's there. And once you know it's there, you're like, wow, that's pretty nutty. But I like that they keep the double bass going, throughout most of the song. I think that's a really cool touch to keep it kind of driving. But Beyond This Life is there's more to it. It's more nuanced, and I've always really liked the juxtaposition between the heavy parts and the mellow parts.
Yeah.
So I like when they go back and forth in the same song. That's always been really cool to me. So,
And I find that first chorus just so creepy.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yep. Yeah, the weird effect on it stuff. I totally agree. Totally agree with that. I mean, honestly, dude, this song has it all. It's got your fast parts. It's got the rocking parts. It's got the weird parts, the mellow parts. Like anything you would want, out of a Dream Theater song, you pretty much have in this one. So, for that one, I definitely have to go with that. Joe Gebhardt says, Kale, you have a powerful voice. So there you go.
And I'm not even warmed
Some
up.
props, man.
Cheers, man. I appreciate it.
There you go. Adam Rishog says, this one is so easy. Beyond This Life every day of the week. Might be one of the more underrated Dream Theater songs, along with The Great Debate. I will agree with you 100% there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Great Debate is highly underrated, and I think this one doesn't get mentioned either. Rock and Roll Podcast is checking in. What's up, man? Good to see you. So speaking of what Adam said about underrated Dream Theater songs and Beyond This Life, I did want to ask you, because I was thinking about this before we went on, how often have they played stuff from Scenes live besides, Spirit Carries On? Because outside of parts that are in the instrumentally, and I think I heard him play Strange Deja Vu once live, but other than that, unless they're doing on the 2014 tour or when they did the whole record, the 2 times they did it, they don't play this in pieces parts except for A Spirit Carries On. I mean, am I wrong in saying that? I mean, other people may have seen it live and there may be bootlegs, but I haven't heard it. Have you?
Deja Vu and Overture together showed up a lot on 6 Degrees and Systematic Chaos. Beyond This Life showed up a lot on Black Clouds, so Dance of Eternity. Yeah, they do pieces.
Okay.
They
Yeah, I just have not heard them. Joe
Not
Gebhardt,
so much since Mangini joined, but yeah.
Okay. Joe Gebhardt says they've played Home quite a few times. Okay. Yeah, I've just never heard it. It's a record they just haven't touched on. When I've seen them.
Actually, I remember now that he's brought that up. I mean, on Portnoy's behind the scenes tour on the Chaos in Motion DVD, he's like, oh yeah, John's got one guitar in Drop D, and he used that on Misunderstood and on Home, which I've conveniently put together on the set tonight. Aren't I great?
Nice. That's perfect, man.
They show up. They definitely show up.
Adam Rishog says, I think I can speak for all of us when I say we want a John and Cale duet vocal album. I gotta get my crap to work first, apparently.
I'm keen on it if you are.
I'll do it, man. I'll do it. You be the more clean voice, I'll be the more dirty voice, and off we go, man. That would work.
Fix some stuff out. We'll talk after the show. My people will contact your people.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, so moving on, we have Hell's Kitchen against Through Her Eyes, and this is officially one of the 2 decisions on this one that is, one of 2 decisions that were the easiest for me. I have Hell's Kitchen. It's my favorite Dream Theater instrumental, even though there's a pretty kick-ass instrumental coming later on Scenes. To me, Hell's Kitchen is just perfect. The melody's amazing. The way that it builds throughout the whole song. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is my alarm. So I literally wake up to Hell's Kitchen every morning. So, Through Her Eyes is a great song. I mean, it's a beautiful song. So I have nothing against it. I will say I do love James' falsetto at the end. That thing that he does, like all that is just, it's. He's never really done much of that ever, and it adds to the song so much at the end. So that part is great, and I really like it. But Hell's Kitchen is just untouchable for me. So, which one did you pick? What do you got? Hell's Kitchen or Through Her Eyes?
2 songs on fretless bass, 2 songs with great energy to them, but thanks to the Images, Words and Beyond tour, I'm definitely going Hell's Kitchen. It's just...
All right.
Again, talking about Burning My Soul 97, I think this is one of the greatest changes made in the production process of Falling Into Infinity, because all that guitar solo bit was a guitar solo for Burning My Soul. It used to go into the keyboard solo in Burning My Soul straight off that bit. But the climax of this thing, I mean, just that, it's like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're talking Dream Theater here. I like it. I like Hell's Kitchen more because it's the full band. There's no Portnoy on Through Our Eyes. It's a drum machine.
Oh, all right.
I'm not talking it's Mike Mangini. I'm talking there is an actual drum machine.
Okay. All right.
It's
Well,
like
that makes
one
sense.
of two they've ever done. The other one being Speak to Me.
Okay.
And
God, Speak to Me. Now you're pulling out.
I just think Hell's Kitchen is a wonderful instrumental. I think Petrucci is at his best on. I think it actually is one of the best Petrucci solo bits on Hell's Kitchen. He's got such a mastery of it on this. It's hard to pass up. It's very hard to pass up.
I completely agree, man. Joe Gebhardt says we should talk about our album over a gorilla fart. I think even if Kale did drink alcohol, he wouldn't drink a gorilla fart. I think I'm the only one dumb enough to do that. So I would.
Good. You do know I don't drink.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, speaking of gorilla farts, we are going to do another fan hangout coming up here in the next few months. And when we do that, I challenge other people to get on camera and do a gorilla fart. I think I can get up to 10 people on here. So if up to 10 people want to get on, and we'll do like a community gorilla fart just to see how many people have the balls to throw one of those back.
That is going to be so much fun to watch.
Oh my gosh. All right, Adam, we're finally on the same page. Adam Rishog says Hell's Kitchen for me too. Also my favorite instrumental, John. This one we can agree on. All right, so we finally got on the same page with that. Okay. Joe Gebhardt, he agrees with us as well. Although Through Her Eyes is beautiful, Hell's Kitchen wins. All right, so that was a pretty easy one right there. So
we're going from one of the easiest choices to the one that I still can't make up my mind on. This is the number one. I can't pick here. It's I hate this bit. So you can go first.
You're gonna defer. You're gonna defer the kickoff to me. Okay. We have Lines in the Sand versus Home, and I chose Home. On Lines in the Sand, there's some killer Sharinian stuff. That's one thing I didn't say from the outset though. I mean, Falling Into Infinity is total. It's obviously the one full Sharinian record. Obviously, he played on, on A Change of Seasons, but I think his keyboard playing and his writing with Dream Theater is so underrated, and Lines in the Sand is a perfect example of that. It's such a great song, and like his keyboards are so prominent. And when they're jamming live, and then they just all of a sudden like stop, and then they just hold it out, even just the sound, that kind of rumbling like sound, what's coming. You doesn't have to hit a note. It's that recognizable. So the Doug Pinnick cameos, kick ass. And after the mellow solo, I like the cymbal stuff. Portnoy's doing the double time hi hat and all that kind of busy stuff with like the stacks and everything, and I love that. But my notes say, dude, it's Home. That song kicks ass. I mean, the vocals are so catchy in so many spots. The big build to get to the end is awesome. This is another one of those songs that I don't think I would ever complain about if they played Home every time I saw them. I'd be like, okay, I just think it's great. I think it's absolutely great. And now that I've given you time, a few extra minutes to make up your mind, what do you got? Home or Lines in the Sand?
I honestly can't pick. They are such different entities here that it's impossible to take one over the other. It really is.
You know the cage match rule. There are no ties.
I think there has to be. I don't think you can take one over the other.
Oh, no.
I
No.
don't know what Brian would pick. I'm kind of wanting to pick Lines in the Sand just on the fact that I love that guitar solo, but then that outro to Home is perfect. I love Jordan's use of the sitar and the tabla under it, but I don't know. I think Lines in the Sand might just edge it out. Just so minusculely. I am such a Home fan. I got to see Portnoy do it on Shattered Fortress, and as James says, this is the metal song. But I don't know. It's... I think Lions because I want to see it over Home that I have seen a live performance of. Just for... I'm curious to see if they do it. I'm hoping, now that they've done Burning My Soul and Hell's Kitchen with Mangini, that this might be coming up somewhere on A View from the Top of the World. I would love it if they dug this one out.
Well, you know me. If they pull out anything from Falling Into Infinity, I'd be like, yes. So, all right. So you are on board with Lines in the Sand. Okay. Gibson Les Paul says, you can pull my Dream Theater card now if you want because I don't like Home. Lines in the Sand wins. Wow. There's another thing I've never heard a Dream Theater fan say. Gibson's on the hot take train tonight. Yeah, that's crazy. All right. Here we go. Adam Rishog and Joe Gebhardt both agree with me. They're going with Home. So there we go. You are in the minority on this one. I really thought you were going to go Home.
You know what?
I gotta be honest.
I'm only slightly in the minority because I'm that undecided. I don't know. It might sway me.
You're already on record, man. Don't be cheating. All right.
I think anyone watching or listening to this episode knows that it's not a clear-cut decision either way from me.
Well, again, you know the cage match rules, man. There can be no ties between songs. If there's an even number of songs on a record, you can have a tie there. But you cannot have a tie per song. So
Brian, back me up. I need help.
Oh no, that's his rule. He would tell you himself.
Look, if Richard's allowed to have 6 Degrees and Octavarium in a set list draft, then I'm allowed to have a tie on this one.
So real quick, is my microphone still acting like a bitch?
It's on and off. It's really on and off.
Yeah, I just got a text message from Chris Aiken, the kind gentleman that puts us on the CMS network, and I'll have to get with him and he can fix my computer since he's an IT guy, and I have no idea what it's doing, so I turned off everything that would possibly use it, and it's still being a dick, so... Oh, I hate computers. I hate them. But nothing I can do about it, so let's move on to track 8. You will be first on this one. We have Take Away My Pain versus The Dance of Eternity.
A song that I like to cover versus one of the most insane instrumental masterpieces of all time. I mean, Dance of Eternity. Come on. It's another one of those songs like Metropolis that defines what these guys can do. It is absolutely visceral. It is intense. It is everything. And following off of the last line of Metropolis being that love is the dance of eternity, it's basically the sex scene. Let's be honest. I love this bloody instrumental. I don't know. I don't think they've ever done anything that compares to it. I think this is one of the best showcases of what those 4 guys did together in the Portnoy era.
Okay.
Well, the Portnoy-Rudis era, anyway.
Yeah. I actually am going the other way. I'm making a controversial pick. I'm going with Take Away My Pain. I love the barroom part in the middle of the Dance of Eternity. Getting some super speed. My Young soloing never sucks. You're right. I mean, it's absolutely flawless in terms of an instrumental. I totally love it. But the reason I picked Take Away My Pain is because I remember it more quickly. They're both incredible, but I think, Take Away My Pain comes into my head quicker if you mention both song titles, I'll hear Take Away My Pain more quickly than I would The Dance of Eternity. The middle section, to me, is one of the best things they've ever done, because the rest of the song is plaintive and thoughtful and kind of major key, and it's nice. But then the middle section is where it drops down and the true emotion of what's going on. It's almost like the verse is Petrucci's telling a story, but then that middle part is actually before the bridge and the solo. That's what he's actually feeling, the pain and the hurt and the darkness. And I love that. I totally love that. So, man, I love The Dance of Eternity, but Take Away My Pain is always kind of I hate to use the term, but hit me in the feels.
Yeah.
So,
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So for me, Take Away My Pain. And I know I'm getting killed for that. Adam Rich,
I was in the minority before, so yeah.
Adam Rishdog says this is not even close. Take Away My Pain is more of a filler track. Dance is basically a perfect instrumental.
Agreed.
Well, yeah.
No, actually,
I get it.
Not fully agreed. Not fully agreed. I don't think it's a filler track. I think it's one of their best ballads, actually, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, dude, it just stands out to me so much, and so much of this record is it just hits me the right way, and this is another example of that. So,
yeah,
it just stands out a little bit more, and maybe it's unfair to compare an instrumental against a song with vocals, because you kind of think of a song with vocals before you think of an instrumental in a lot of cases. But
yeah,
again, the chips fall how they fall, man. So it is what it is. All right, number 9, we have Just Let Me Breathe versus One Last Time. And unfortunately, we have another short one versus a regular song. So I obviously have Just Let Me Breathe. This is another one that absolutely just grooves. You just pop your head the whole tune, and it's just, and I've always loved the lyrics and how ballsy Portnoy was. He was so pissed off at record labels and the corporate music machine at that time. And he just goes out and fillets them in the lyrics to this. And to specifically, crap on 2 guys who basically killed themselves, and Shannon Hoon and Kurt Cobain. I mean, that takes some balls, man. Because those guys technically could just be like, record sales, dude, scoreboard. But he doesn't care. He's like, yeah, you sold records because you blew your head off or overdosed. He just pulls no punches. And I've always thought that's such a cool aspect of the song. I mean, One Last Time it's very majestic, it's very hooky, but it's very short. So there's not a lot there to compare it with. And Just Let Me Breathe is a jammer. So do I even need to ask which one you picked, or did you go out on a limb and take One Last Time?
No, I took Just Let Me Breathe. I mean, it's one of my favorite aggressive LaBrie vocals with that strung up your bed stakes red posture. It's just like, hello, like that bit. It's such a good riff. And the other thing I like about it is that it turns around the line from Take the Time, where you just close your eyes, you can find all you need in your mind. They take that around, turn it the other way. It's cool callback, and it changes the meaning of it, and I love it. It's a good song.
I never noticed that before, man. That's an awesome catch. I did not ever notice that. That is cool, dude.
And I like with Sons of Apollo, they changed the names of it as well, just to keep it a little bit more modernly relevant as well.
I wonder, are we allowed to do an episode about Sons of Apollo? Are we gonna?
Yeah, no. Anybody? I reckon you could.
Brian and I are huge fans. I mean,
we've already had Dream Theater side projects, so
yeah. But I mean, this isn't a side project, really. I mean, it's an actual thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it shouldn't be a surprise that I'd be a fan of Sons of Apollo, considering it's Derek Sherinian and Mike Portnoy who wrote, 2/3 of the writing duo on my favorite Dream Theater record. So
Yeah.
go figure. I would like the band they're in together that sounds like Dream Theater.
Right.
Man, Gibson Les Paul, what the hell are you doing tonight, man? Gibson Les Paul says, "One Last Time is great and a perfect intro to Spirit. One Last Time wins." Dude, you are on drugs. It's like 1 minute and 10 seconds long. He's just trolling now. Gibson's just trolling.
I will say I like it as an outro to Dance and as intro to Spirit, but at the same time, a lot of it feels filler to me. Like the lyrics, until it brings back the Strange Deja Vu reprise, don't add anything new.
Yeah. Oh, JG3. What's up, man? How's it going, dude? I haven't seen you in a bit. Good to see you. Thanks for checking out the show. Sarcasmo Assholio, could you fix that background? Are you talking about the show background or my personal background, dude? Because
Or my background.
Oh no, he's talking about mine. He is not a Falling Into Infinity fan. I have a strange feeling his scorecard would be 11-0 in favor of Scenes.
I got to be honest though, I really have to hand it to Scenes for being the first album to use one of these.
Oh, the Majesty?
Well, the start of the prototypes to the Majesty, at least.
What finish is that? Since you can't really see, is it?
This is the Mystic Dream.
So is that the translucent one that's like blue, purple, green? Oh, that's awesome.
Camo paint.
You know why would anybody get any other color but that? That's such a great color, man. Oh, all right.
Hard to finger pick, but yeah.
So we have the last two. We have Anna Lee versus The Spirit Carries On. What do you got?
One of them, once again, defines the band for sure. So you kind of have to take Spirit, I think. Anna Lee is a great song. If you love Elton John, it's an awesome song. If you love Derek's songwriting, it's a really good song. It's a good song. It's not The Spirit Carries On, though. I think The Spirit Carries On resonates in the hearts of pretty much every Dream Theater fan ever. Look at Luna Park with Crying Girl. Have a look at Wacken and see a bunch of metalheads standing at one of the biggest metal festivals of all time bawling because they're playing Spirit Carries On.
Look at you bringing up the Wacken Festival. Good reference.
I've been on a bit of a Mangini kick recently. I'm just finished Distant Memories, listening to all the albums again and watching. I think I just watched Pistoria Blues Fest as well, which was one of the bootlegs from that 30th anniversary tour. God, that had a good set list, didn't it?
Nice.
We're on a strange topic here, aren't we? So,
hey,
no, but
going down the rabbit hole.
Spirit Carries On, and that solo and Portnoy's big ending feel to it. It's like, if you're talking Dream Theater ballads, that is it for me. It doesn't get much better.
Yeah. Well, I am. You're not going to believe this. I'm going with Anna Lee. Just kidding. I wanted to see
what grounds? On what grounds?
Even I can't make that joke, man. I love Anna Lee. Don't get me wrong. It's like a guilty pleasure for me. And honestly, up against a lot of other songs, it would have won. They haven't done anything. They didn't do anything like it before. They haven't done anything like it since. I love it. But in my notes, it says, up against a ton of other songs, Anna Lee would have won, but Spirit Carries On. Enough said. Spirit Carries On is literally a perfect Dream Theater song. It's amazing on the record. It's always incredible live whenever they play it. I actually have Crying Girl on my notes too, as an example. It just works, period, the end. The song just works beautifully in any format at any time. And it's so hard to write a song like that. And when, this is the one when I went back and listened to it that I always appreciated, but when you dig in, you realize that the whole thing is just ear candy. It sounds phenomenal. You're hooked. The melodies are there. The song is just one giant hook. It's a perfect slab of music, man. So that was, as much as I love Anna Lee, that was an easy one.
I think Anna Lee is a song that's only ever going to work with Sharinian, to be honest.
You think so?
I think Jordan would do a little bit too much on keyboards and make it just a little overplayed, which isn't a burn on Jordan, but I think Sharinian's just got the right pocket to make a song like Anna Lee work. That I don't know that Moore would have had, that I don't know that Rudis does have. I love them all, but I think that song is definitive to his style.
Okay. I mean, I would agree with you. The only thing I would say is I don't know if Jordan would necessarily overplay. I don't hear him going doom doom like I figure he would be true to the source material. So I don't know if he would overplay it necessarily.
I mean in terms of writing something like that.
Oh, okay.
I think
Thought you meant actually
if he was going to play it, he'd play it properly. But I think if he was going to write it, there'd be a few extra little fillies here and there.
Yeah. I mean, you do have something like Wither. I mean, the piano version of Wither is I mean, that's pretty simple.
True.
But I mean,
I don't know.
You could be right. He does prefer a more busy style.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the final track, and this is one of the two that was easy peasy for me. Sorry, to use that term, but that's what I wrote on my notes. Trial of Tears versus Finally Free. I have two notes: the easy peasy, which is terrible, but I wrote it. My second note. My favorite Dream Theater song against a song I ranked low on the list of closing songs. Tough choice here. Trial of Tears is my all-time favorite Dream Theater song. And Finally Free is cool, but it's a closer. And I think they've done better album closers. And honestly, I don't know that there's a song on Scenes from a Memory that would have beaten out Trial of Tears for me. I just love everything about that song.
Well, if it's your favorite song, of course nothing's going to beat it, is it?
Look at this. Look at Adam Rishaw. Before we go on, Adam, I hope that you're not talking about Trial of Tears with this comment. John, since listening to this podcast, I've gone back and listened to Falling Into Infinity because of how much you rave about it, but I find myself continuing to skip over the song. Yeah, how do you skip over Trial of Tears? What the hell, Adam? That is
Adam.
You're jumping into Gibson Les Paul territory. Look, Gibson Les Paul. You're right. It is easy. Finally, Free takes it. You see, Gibson's just trying to piss in my Wheaties. That's all he's doing. Look, man. If for no other reason, for nothing else, Finally Free has a guy that's supposed to sound like he's walking across a carpeted floor in his living room, and it sounds like he's walking on gravel. Okay. So it's got a dumb sound effect. So there, Trial of Tears wins because it doesn't have a dumb sound effect. So, that's why I picked it, damn it. Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, for me, Trial of Tears is absolutely perfect. I love every second of it. And when I saw it live in 2014, I went to the show and I was thinking, man, if I could just pick, if they'd only play a one-song set list, I want to hear Trial of Tears. And when they went into that little sound effect, I was like, oh my God, I'm actually getting it. Yes. So part of me is hoping that it's in the set list for the new tour. I do not know what's in the new tour. There are spoilers out there, and I want to go into the show on February 23rd spoiler free. So if anybody knows songs in the set list, do not tell me, but I'm hoping for it.
Stay off that social media because I think Jordan's confirmed 2 now.
Well, if it's the Alien and A View from the Top of the World, no, those are not surprises. So
one is correct, one is not.
Wow.
But
really?
The other was probably as obvious as being the Alien.
Oh, okay. So, all right. I see. Okay. All right. So Trial of Tears versus Finally Free. I have Trial of Tears. Which one do you have?
I have Finally Free.
You do not.
It's... Huh?
You do not. Do you really?
Yeah. I went back and I looked at album closer episode, and Trail of Tears was my number 4. Finally Free was my number 2. It is a great ending to the story. It's like, okay, here's what he thinks has happened. Here's what actually happened. It's that ending drum solo. If you've seen Portnoy do that once, it's over. I think it's a great wrap up to the story. And if you don't, John, then open your eyes, Drake.
Well, I'm not saying it's not a great wrap up. It's just, I mean, think of all the other songs that are better than it as a closer. There's a lot of them.
I only took one. I only had one over this one.
Well, that's why you're not.
To live.
That's why you're not a full-time host, because you're wrong too much of the time. I'm just kidding, man. Wow. Yeah, I remember you did say that, and I was like, second best, really? Wow. Now,
I don't know. I'd still agree with that now, but I don't know. Finally Free just has something for me.
If it wasn't the closing track for a story, if it was just an album full of regular songs, would you still say Finally Free is that high on the list of closers?
If we're looking at it as just songs, I think even just... I love that outro vamp on its own.
Okay.
I think that's great.
You're not wrong about the drum part. I mean, that part is amazing. Like, Portnoy does some crazy stuff in there.
It's... I gotta love that bit on its own. I think if we were looking at it as just songs, because, to be fair, I'm looking at it as a storyline. I think if you're looking at just... I get one song detached from everything, just in its own void. Yeah, all right, I can give you in that moment that Trail of Tears is probably a lot better as just song. But for me, when you're looking at it in terms of this is the culmination of everything that has been scenes from a memory, it's hard to go past Finally Free.
Okay.
It really is.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think, and maybe it's just because, The Spirit Carries On is just so glorious. Finally Free kind of feels like, why am I drawing a blank? Beneath the Surface, the song that comes, the one that it comes after Breaking All Illusions. I always forget. I get the two
that's
ballads
Beneath the
mixed up.
Surface.
Yeah. It feels like that. I'm like, Breaking All Illusions is like, oh my God, that's such a great closer. And what is this? And it's kind of like Finally Free is kind of a letdown after, well, not kind of, it is a letdown after, Spirit Carries On. So maybe that's why I look at it that way.
It's not for me. It's not.
Okay.
Because it's got great thematic structure with bringing back one last time after they get killed. I think that's a great, all right, we're still here. We get to at least go out together kind of thing. I think bringing back that solo that we heard in Overture 1928 to wrap it up. That's the last bit of John's leads here. Starting with the Spirit Carries On chords and then having that nice dark vamp with the drums solo over it. I don't know. There's a lot there that I enjoy in terms of thematic structure. I think it's a great masterpiece in that on how to reprise things. I'd go as far as saying it definitely elevates it on the Live Scenes from New York version where you get that big finale of the Strange Deja Vu one last time bit.
Okay. Well, I got a lot of comments I want to bring up because there's a lot of conversation on this. Adam Rishog did correct me. He was actually talking about Anna Lee. He was not talking about Trial of Tears. So,
all right. Then I can forgive you on that ground.
Yeah. So Joe Gebhardt, he says Trial of Tears. It's just a fantastic song. Finally Free is intense with the murder scene, but I have to go with Trial of Tears. Adam, he says I love Finally Free so much. Such a great closing track and totally ties the concept together, but Trial of Tears is a masterpiece. Sarcasmo Assholio. Oh, very cool. He says, saw Scenes from a Memory DVD recording at the Beacon in 2000 live. They put me in the VIP balcony. Best show ever. You were there. Wow, he got to see the 4-hour Dream Theater set. That is, wow. Is that considered like the Dream Theater show to have been at? Is that
that's almost as much of a god moment as seeing Wayne pull off the fucking Picasso guitar.
Right. So JG3, he says this may be a highly controversial opinion, but I am not a huge fan of Finally Free's ending. It's kind of why I don't like A View from the Top of the World's ending. I think it was heavily inspired by Finally Free's ending. Okay. I don't really hear the Finally Free ending in A View from the Top of the World.
I hear more Scarb's ending in A View from the Top of the World.
Okay. I didn't notice a lot of repetitive stuff. I'll have to go back and listen to it again. But I don't think it's controversial either to say that you're not a fan of Finally Free's ending. I mean, it's it's like I said, it's cool, but to me it comes after pretty much a masterpiece of a song, so it's kind of like it's not as good.
Yeah.
But that's just me. And Adam says, such a good point. If Finally Free was the last track on any other album, I would not consider it as great. JG3 forgot it was a cage match. He says, Trial of Tears is easily the winner over Finally Free for me. I forgot it was a cage match. So
no, I'm happy to take the L on this in the court of public opinion, but I agree with you. I think if it was the closer to any other album, it wouldn't be as good. But I don't know. I don't think any other album would support it being structured like that.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, man. That makes sense.
I almost wish the Astonishing closer was more like that, with thematic wrap-up. Here's the final go down on exactly what has happened here. It's definitely better than, oh, by the way, you're forgiven for killing your sister just because she's alive now.
I just think The Astonishing is a different piece of work. I mean, they're both concept records, but I mean, Scenes from a Memory is specifically a concept album, whereas I think The Astonishing is meant to be more almost like a book or a movie, but you listen to it instead of watch it, if that makes sense. It's much more, it's kind of like it's got like chapters. Yeah, like chapters. So I think like kind of going back and doing a recap is not really what they do in that sort of format. So I don't know. So what do you have as your final score?
All right, let me count it up.
I have 7-4, Falling Into Infinity, which again should not be a surprise.
3, 4. Okay, I've got 5 for Infinity versus, I guess, it'd be 6 for Scenes. Yeah. 6-5.
So you've got a 6-5 victory for Scene, and I've got a 7-4 victory for Falling Into Infinity. Adam Rishog, he says he has 8-3 for Scenes. And I'm sure Gibson Les Paul is probably at like
10-1, maybe.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, and he's look at that. He is calling out Sarcasmo Assholio. And unfortunately, Gibson, on this one you are wrong. He's talking about the DVD recording for Scenes from Memory. He says that show was at Roseland Ballroom, not Beacon Theater, I believe. Someone not telling the truth. No, that was at the Beacon Theater, most positive, isn't it?
I was pretty sure it was Roseland Ballroom. All right, let's look it up.
Yep. All right, be our Google master. You're usually our Google master. I could swear it's the Beacon Theater. Speaking of live shows, JG3 says, also one of my favorite shows in I can't talk. In Dream Theater history is the Bucharest show from 2002. What a set
Great
list
show.
and performance. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's also the show where James falls during the killing hand. So I have two things on that. I own that DVD, so I did get the Yitzhak Jam, so I have seen it. I love it. You are not wrong. But I did not notice him falling during the killing hand. So
You've never noticed that?
I did not notice that. So I'm gonna have to go back and look for that.
I think it's during the looking deep into the sea.
I did not notice that. Oh, that's awesome.
It looks like he just faints for half a second there. It's just like, what the hell? He doesn't look like he trips on anything. He's just standing there and then he's not.
Right? Look, JG3, is Sarcasmo Asholio not to be trusted? And Sarcasmo Asholio answers, sure, you can trust me. Hop in my van. I have candy.
I looked it up. It's definitely Roseland Ballroom.
Oh, it's the Roseland Ballroom. Okay. I thought it was the Beacon.
I don't think they played the Beacon on that tour.
Well, I doubt somebody would lie about being at that show. So I'm going to trust Sarcasmo Asholio.
I mean,
Unless
they're
he's
both
actually being sarcastic.
They're both massive venues around the same spot, so
Yeah.
could
Now-
just be a slight mix-up.
There is a caveat to this Sarcasmo.
I'm not going with a lie.
Probably just forgot he was drunk or something. But yeah, Sarcasmo, I'm going to put a caveat in this, though. I've told everybody about how I was at SCORE, and I can actually back that up because I'm in the documentary twice.
Oh,
So I could prove that. So if you're not in the documentary for that one, might be a little difficult, but I believe you. So, oh, look at this. JG3 said John Petrucci falls as well, and you can see him continue to play, and James continues to sing. I mean, what am I watching? I've watched that so many times, and I have not seen that. All right. Well, it looks like I have to go back and watch it. Actually, I think I loaned that out to Brian now that I think about it. I think I might have given that to Brian. I'll have to get it back from him next time I see him. Well, KL...
No, it's definitely confirming Roseland is the main date for it on Setlist FM as well. So
Okay. All right.
I'm not seeing Roseland on that tour.
Well, I got to say, man, thank you very much for filling in
Nothing
for
big.
Brian on this one. I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Joe Gebhardt says, this has been fun. I got to go. My condolences to Brian and his family. Thank you very much, Joe. That is very kind of you. He says, go Chiefs. We won't get into that. But, hey, you'll probably win. So, yeah, no, I really appreciate you stepping in, man. I think I told you, Brian thanks you as well for jumping in and getting his back on this.
Just want to send a shout out to Brian. I hope you're doing all right, man. Here if you want to talk. Just before I hop off, though, I just need to tell you that that's not a knife. This is a knife. That's the last time. It's not happening again.
That is awesome. So JG3, when we're done here, just go check the beginning of the show real quick, and I go over what happened. Brian lost his dad suddenly, so he's off doing personal stuff. But yeah, once again, thanks to all you guys in the chat. JG3, Joe Gebhardt, Sarcasmo, Gibson, Adam Rishog, all you fine folks, man. We appreciate you guys for coming out. I'm going to have somebody look at my effing computer so that this damn microphone crap stops. It's funny. It did it on the last two episodes of this show, but my nerd podcast, the Nerf Herder Council, last week was perfectly fine. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Do you have a different setup?
Exact same setup, man. So
were you running it? On
Yeah.
Nerf Herder?
Oh yeah.
Then that's
Same
just
thing.
weird.
Same thing, man.
I guess your computer just doesn't like Dream Theater anymore.
It was pissed off that I had It was pissed off that I had Falling Into Infinity beating scenes from a memory. So, but yeah, thank you guys very much for jumping in the chat. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the kind wishes for Brian. I'm sure he'll probably mention something when he comes back for the next episode. One quick question before we go. Adam Rishog says, John, real quick, who's winning the Super Bowl? It pains me to say this, but I would be surprised if it's not the Chiefs. I would be surprised if it's not the Chiefs. I don't think there's any way that the Bengals beat them, and it's Patrick Mahomes, and I mean the Rams defense is okay. 49ers could give them a game, I suppose, but I just think it's the Chiefs, and I hate to say that. So, Adam says he's going Rams. I'd be fine with that. JG3 agrees. Says, as a longtime Eagles fan, don't underestimate Andy Reid's ability to mess up a big game. I'm a Browns fan, dude. You guys that have been in all sorts of playoff games and Super Bowls need to quit complaining. So you don't know the misery that we do. So, all right, guys, we're going to jump. Thanks again for checking out Talking Into Infinity, a Dream Theater podcast. We are back right here on February 10th. So Brian will be back for that one. Again, we are live every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. YouTube, Facebook, talkingintoinfinity.com or the CMSnetwork.com. And Cale, once again, thanks very much. Thanks to all you guys for checking out the show. And we'll catch you next time, guys. Carpe diem.